From tiny islands to powerful palaces, here are 10 of the smallest countries in the world. Number 10. Malta. Malta is an archipelago or a group of islands in the Mediterranean Sea. It is located 50 miles south of Italy. The country is 122 square miles, which is 10 miles smaller than Las Vegas, Nevada. Malta is small enough that you may not have realized its importance to world history. Its location has given it great importance, as it has been ruled by various leaders such as the Phoenicians, Greeks, Romans, Byzantines, Knights of St. John, and many more. King George VI even awarded the George Cross to Malta in 1942 for Malta's great bravery in World War II. This is why the cross is on Malta's national flag. It wasn't until 1964 that Malta gained independence from the United Kingdom and then became a republic in 1974. The official languages of Malta are Maltese and English. Maltese is very unique in that it descends from the Arabic that developed in Sicily between the 9th and 12th century. It evolved independently of Arabic and became Latinized over the years. Its population as of 2015 is about 432,000 people. Malta is a popular destination for tourists, mostly for its historical monuments and structures. Its beautiful views and crystal clear water surrounding the island make it a wonderful place to visit. The clear view of the crystal sea surrounding the island is also very appealing. Valletta, which is Malta's #1 destination, is the shining star. Its 16th century buildings are in wonderful condition. The shocker? Valletta is hardly 1,000 feet across. So much to see in such a small area. Number 9. The Maldives. The Maldives is a South Asian country located in the Arabian Sea. What's so unique about the Maldives is that it's made up of 26 atolls that spread out over the sea. Because of this, it is one of the most widely dispersed countries in the world. The name Maldives could literally translate into garland or necklace islands. An atoll is a ring-shaped coral reef that encircles a lagoon partially or completely. There are 26 of these in the Maldives that separate the islands. It isn't just widely dispersed, but it is also the lowest country in the world as far as elevation goes. Even its highest point is the lowest. The average height is around 5 feet above sea level, and the highest point in the entire nation is just under 8 feet, about 2.4 meters. One of the most highly sought-after experiences in the Maldives is their adventure tourism that offers tourists a chance to swim with sharks, manta rays, and other sea creatures. Islam was adopted in the year 1153, and the islands were under the Sultan of Ceylon, now Sri Lanka. While it used to be considered an isolated nation with an authoritarian government, it has now become one of the top luxury travel destinations in the world. Population, about 409,000. Number 8. St. Kitts and Nevis. The Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis is a two-island country in the West Indies. Again, this country may seem unimportant, but it has been called the mother colony of the West Indies and is in fact the birthplace of Alexander Hamilton. Nevis was originally called San Martin by Christopher Columbus in 1493. Columbus originally named the other island after his patron saint, Saint Christopher. It isn't known who changed the name to St. Kitts and Nevis. Its area is about 269 square kilometers. Currently, the population is around 55,500. Tourists are attracted to St. Kitts and Nevis for its nature. Many believe the combination of the mountainous beauty and majestic sea is beyond the perfect paradise. From botanical gardens to beautiful beaches, St. Kitts and Nevis are one of a kind. But their most popular attraction is their national park. Besides natural wonders, this park is full of barracks and other military defenses from centuries ago. The French, Spanish, and the Kalinago people all built barriers and other military structures here, and many of them still stand today. Number 7. The Marshall Islands. Another country of islands and coral atolls, the Marshall Islands were first settled as far back as 2000 BC. They were known by locals as Jolet Gen Anij, which meant gifts from God. But when John Marshall, the British explorer, re-found the islands, they were named after him by the English. Most of the 1,000 islands are spread out over 29 coral atolls in the South Pacific and are less than 6 feet above sea level. The Marshall Islands are now a symbol of the dangers of climate change as they are starting to disappear under the water. Even though the Marshall Islands date way back, there is no history recorded until the 1500s when other explorers began to visit. In October 2011, the government created the biggest shark sanctuary in the world that would be watched over by Marshall Islands. Here, all shark fishing is banned and all bycatch must be released. Since the country is so small and the sanctuary is so big, it is unknown if they can really enforce this law and keep the sharks safe. This makes Marshall Islands the first country on the list to be under 100 square miles. Kwajalein, the largest of the Marshall Atolls, has been of huge strategic value to the United States, first for nuclear testing and more recently as a ballistic missile defense site. The Pentagon has a lease on Kwajalein until 2066 and has commissioned scientific studies on the impact rising sea levels will have on the base's mission. They may have to move out sooner, and the locals are already looking for a special agreement to be able to move to the United States once they get flooded. Number 6. Liechtenstein. Liechtenstein is one of the most fascinating small countries in the world. Located in Central Europe, this German-speaking monarchy is one of a kind. Its area is just over 60 square miles, but it has a lot of stories to tell. It is double landlocked by Austria and Switzerland, who are themselves landlocked. The only other country in this situation is Uzbekistan. It has some of the wealthiest averages in the world with the lowest poverty rates. This could possibly be the reason that there is a very low crime rate in the country. There hasn't even been a murder in 20 years now. Citizens who are given prison sentences longer than 2 years are transferred to Austria. Most people don't even lock their doors at night. The place is so small that every year the head of state, His Serene Highness Prince Hans Adam II, and his son invite the entire country to their castle for a beer in the garden of Vaduz Castle. Want to know something silly? The country is responsible for 20% of all manufactured false teeth in the world. At one point, the country was available for rent for $70,000 a night. Who wouldn't want to rent that? This isn't too surprising because stepping into Liechtenstein, you may think you've stepped into a storybook. From the monarchy to the castles to the green countryside, this place looks like a medieval adventure. Number 5. San Marino. San Marino, otherwise known as the Most Serene Republic of San Marino, is actually a microstate that is surrounded by Italy. It is the 5th smallest country in the world, hence why it's number 5. Lonely Planet calls San Marino the land of cliff-top castles. San Marino is less than 25 square miles, which is just bigger than Providence, Rhode Island. The country believes they are the oldest extant sovereign state and oldest constitutional republic. They also claim to have the earliest written governing documents that are still in effect. Much of the language, food, and buildings are highly influenced by Italian history and culture. Probably because of its small size, the majority of people, 98%, share the same religion, which is Roman Catholic. But it does have its own flair. The Palace of the Governor is quite beautiful, and Mount Titamo is recognized by UNESCO as a national monument. Number 4. Tuvalu. Tuvalu, which you may know as Ellis Islands, is a country located nearly directly between Hawaii and Australia. How big is it? Oh, just about 10 meters squared. That's about the size of Laguna Beach, California. It is believed that the first settlers arrived as Polynesians about 3,000 years ago. The people of Tuvalu once believed that Te Pusi Mo Te Ali, or the eel and the flounder, created the islands. The flounder created the atolls, and the eel created the coconut palms. While this story varies depending on who you ask, the foundation is pretty much the same. Only about 350 people visit the country leisurely every year, so tourism is not very popular in Tuvalu. But with such a small size, this isn't surprising. Plus, nobody will be passing through, and no one aside from those living on the island live anywhere near it as it is in the middle of the ocean. Violent crime is rare in Tuvalu, and like many tiny nations, it is considered pretty safe. However, it is illegal to do one thing that you might not think of. In Tuvalu, it is illegal to be gay. So yeah, that might put a damper on things. Number 3. Nauru. Nauru, or formerly the attractive Pleasant Island, is an island country in Micronesia. It is roughly the size of Key West and houses 10,000 residents. Nauru is a phosphate rock island and a popular destination for mining operations. For this reason, it may be one of the wealthiest small countries in the world. In the 60s and 70s, it definitely was. Nauru was first inhabited by Micronesians and Polynesians over 3,000 years ago. Since there were 12 tribes at the time, there is a 12-pointed star on the nation's flag. For not quite known reasons, Nauruans are the most overweight people in the world. Not surprisingly, after hearing this fact, fact, they have the highest rate for type 2 diabetes, with more than 40% of the population affected. So before, the country was profitable and healthy, and now things are going downhill as the product of pollution and poverty. Number 2. Monaco. Monaco is a microstate located on the French Riviera. Since it has over 35,000 residents and is less than 1 square mile, it is now the most densely populated country in the world. Don't let its size fool you, though. About 30% of the population are millionaires. You know why? Because of us. Monaco's main source of income is tourism. It has casinos where citizens aren't allowed in, so anything spent at the casino is pure profit for the country since citizens won't be spending any money there. You know, like the casinos from the James Bond movies. Monaco is a tax-free state, which also adds to their wealth. For this reason, outsiders have tried to use Monaco for their income and residents to skip out on paying taxes. Aside from pure tourism, the Grand Prix held in Monaco is one of the greatest and most famous in the world. Number 1. The Vatican. Although officially Vatican City, this city-state is actually its own country as well. However, the Holy See, or the See of Rome, has full ownership, exclusive dominion, and sovereign authority and jurisdiction. Still, it is a country in itself, and since it is just 110 acres, it is considered the smallest country in the world. It is less than an eighth of the size of Central Park. Since the Holy See has control over much of the country, the Pope is the sovereign of the state. What's funny is that since Vatican City is an enclave within Italy, it is defended by the Italian military, though there is no written agreement that this should be so because the country is considered neutral. The city is too small to hold embassies, and over 70% of the citizens are the clergy. Because of this, out of about 600 citizens in the country, only about 30 of them are female. You'd think this small country had nothing to show, but St. Peter's Basilica and the Sistine Chapel, some of Italy's greatest works of art, are located in the Vatican. Have you ever been to any of these tiny countries? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye!